Welcome back. Welcome back to From the Shed End. Welcome back to the channel. Welcome back. Welcome back. Transfer special. Transfer special. Just fix the camera, man. The camera looks. Here we go. Let's fix the camera. Let's get ourselves. Let's start on a positive. Let's start on a positive. But welcome back to the channel. If you're new, as always, please make sure you hit the subscribe button. You let us know your thoughts in the comment section. All of that stuff. We got some talking to do. We got some talking to do because Cole Palmer, according to a lot of sources, a lot of noise on the internet, he wants out. Cole Palmer wants out. We got to talk about Disasi. We got to talk about Raheem Sterling, Douglas Luiz, Jeremy Jacquet, Aaron Anselmino. Who else? N'Golo Kante. There's a lot to talk about. There is a lot to talk about. As I said, get involved. There's a poll as well. As you can see, there's a poll that I've put up in the live chat. So if you're here as part of the live stream, make sure you give me your thoughts. Should Cole Palmer be sent away from Cobham? Should he end up at Manchester United? Which is what the talk is. There's a lot of talk at the moment about Cole Palmer leaving Chelsea. Apparently he's homesick. Yeah, big up Daniel in the chat. I'm going to say this. I'm going to say this to you as well. And I'm going to get into why I think he doesn't leave. But never underestimate the fact that there's clubs out there that can do deals. Because a lot of people would have said that to me about Barcelona. And I'll tell you for one now, Barcelona are broke. But they always find a way to get deals done. And I'll be honest, the way that our club is run as well, and you got to remember, at least 70% of football clubs in England now are owned by American owners. So they'll make, if the deal needs to happen, they'll make it happen. They will make it happen. I personally don't think it's going to happen. I don't think Cole Palmer wants away. I don't think he wants away from the club. I'll be honest. I think there's a lot of talk around it because, in fact, let's just jump straight into it. Let's get straight into the noise. So it's saying here that moving to boyhood club Man United appeals to Cole Palmer, who's missing life in Manchester. Club well stocked with number 10s and left footers. Wilcox oversaw Palmer's development at City. So I'm not going to click on the link because obviously you know me already. I'm not really with that newspaper there. But you'll see from the reports that are coming out that Cole Palmer is being linked with a move away. Now, I'm going to be honest. I think there could be some truth to not him wanting to go to Manchester United, but there is truth to Cole Palmer wanting away from Chelsea. And the reason I say that is because he hasn't looked himself for over, I would say at least over 10 months. Over 10 months. Because, and I'm not just talking injuries, I'm talking about the way that he's been playing, just everything. And I'm even starting to question now the foot injury that he got. He was meant to come back from an injury, and then all of a sudden stubs his toe. This is when Maresca was still the manager. Stubs his toe. He can't play for us. Then he comes back into training. Then he gets injured again. Then he's meant to be back for the Palace game. He can't play in that game. He's back in training today. Is he going to be? Is he going to be available for Napoli tomorrow? So I think with Cole Palmer, I do think that there is truth that he's not happy, and you got to remember with Cole as well. And we'll get back into the transfer news as well. But you got to remember with Cole Palmer, he didn't want to come down to London in the first place. It's not like Cole Palmer was pushing for this Chelsea move. He wanted to go on loan. Pep told him he's got to go on permanent. So I think there's truth to the fact that Cole Palmer never really wanted to move all the way down south. He's come from obviously like a local Mancunian, grew up in a sort of family environment, or surrounded by his family, surrounded by his sister, surrounded by his mum, surrounded by his dad. And then when you're taking someone from that environment and you're pushing them out, you're suddenly not Cole Palmer that's been playing one or two games for the men's team at City, and you're now this global Chelsea player that everybody knows. Everybody knows you. Everybody wants you to perform week in, week out. To go from that level to then catapulting yourself up to the very top of the chain, Ballon d'Or conversations. Like it can't be easy for him. So I get it. I do get it. But what I will say is, um, yeah, they're in debt. They are. But look, there's a lot of clubs in. You'd be surprised how many clubs are in debt and still do business every summer. You'd be surprised, honestly. There's that many clubs. Prime example, Aston Villa. You'd think they're not in that much debt. Aston Villa have got a lot of debt around their club, but they still do deals. They're doing a deal for Douglas Luiz right now. So a lot of football clubs are in debt. In fact, majority of football clubs are in an element of debt. There's not many that are not debt free. So I get what you're saying. They are in debt, but that doesn't stop them. Like, they just bought Cunha and then Bumo last summer, so they're not in debt to the point where they can't sign players. They can, and they probably will in the summer as well. So I get what you're saying. They are in a form of debt, but that won't stop them from signing players in the summer at all. Um, Daniel in the chat thinks I think Cole Palmer has had enough of the ownership and the model. I heard on Eunice Talks Football. Yeah, but when 200 and whatever £1,000 been dropped into your bank account, the model kind of sounds a bit. I'll let the model go away a little bit. Do you know what I mean? But no, I hear what you're saying. I think it's yeah, I think it's just one of those things where it's becoming a bit messy at Chelsea. I think, and like I said, I remember saying it on the live stream and on other videos. There's no guarantee that Cole Palmer, when he comes back from these injuries, just walks straight back into the team. There's no guarantee, and everyone shot me down and said, "Oh, he does. He walks back in. He doesn't. He doesn't just walk back into the team. Not just off merit what he did at the Club World Cup and last season. That was all last season. If you're going to get back into this 11, you've got to be playing at the Esteval level. That level. Esteval turned up on Saturday and was immense, was amazing against Crystal Palace. So there's no guarantee for Cole Palmer to just walk back into this team. Because if Esteval starts in the 10 or he starts on the right, you could put Esteval in the 10, you could play Neto on the right, you can play Jamie Gittins on the left, you can put Garnacho on the right. We got Giovanni Quenda coming in a couple of months' time as well. So there's other players that are going to be coming in and wanting the same space that Cole Palmer was occupying before the injury. For me personally, I think it comes down to this. I think Cole Palmer would be stupid to go to Manchester United. I think he'd be stupid to go to Manchester City. I don't think either of those clubs suit him. They've got Mason Mount. I think they've got Bruno Fernandes that can play, although he's been linked with a move away. But yeah, I just don't see him leaving. Yeah, yeah, we're gonna get onto some signings. We're gonna get onto some possible signings in this live stream as well. But no, I think with Cole Palmer, I think he just needs to get his head down. What I don't like about Cole Palmer is I feel like if this was like a Marcus Rashford, like I feel like with Cole Palmer, he's suddenly becoming like even yesterday. Let me pull this up. Let me pull this up. And this is not me hating on Cole Palmer, by the way. This is not me trying to hate on him or whatever. It's none of this stuff. It's just I don't like things like this. I don't like these are the sort of things I want to see him doing in between the season and the World Cup. Not in the middle of a season when we're struggling to get top four and you're injured and you're out and you haven't been playing well. I don't want to see you become like I don't care. I don't care that you've got a trademark. I don't care that you've got a trademark. I don't care. Are you scoring 10 goals this season and getting 10 assists? That's what I care about as a fan. I mean, the logo is a brilliant logo. It's a brilliant, whoever done that, designed it, give them an extra 10% because they done well. But when you're not playing well, and this goes for any player, not just Cole Palmer, but when you're not playing well, and Jesse Lingard used to do this all the time, Marcus Rashford has done this before. When you're not playing well, I don't need to see all this like noise, especially when you've got transfer rumors around you as well. I don't want to hear the noise about celebration logos and trademarks and all this crap. Cole Palmer needs to get back to the Cole Palmer and focus on his football and become the player that we think he can be at Chelsea. He's not even my concern at the moment. I think my biggest concerns would be to lose someone like Esteval, Marc Cucurella, Reece James, which we'll talk about in this live stream. But I think if we was to lose Cole Palmer, let me ask you guys in the chat: if we lose Cole Palmer, is it a massive, massive loss for Chelsea? That's what I want to know. Is it a massive loss if we lose Cole Palmer? Is it a massive loss? Are we going to struggle without Cole Palmer? Have we struggled without Cole Palmer? Which Cole Palmer performances this season wowed you? Which ones made you think we need him in the team? Because I'm actually struggling to think about myself. I can't think of a Cole Palmer performance this season where I thought, he looks amazing. And maybe that is down to the injury. Maybe that's down to the fact he needs surgery. He's not getting the surgery. Who knows? But he needs to do something. He needs to do something because it ain't looking good for him. It ain't looking good for him. And to be honest, like Daniel said in the chat, can United, because we're going to want at least 150 million for Cole Palmer. We're not selling Cole Palmer for anything less than 150 mil. Big up yourself, Masters Ibrahim in the chat as well. Good morning to you, sir. Yep, I agree. I agree. I don't think we lose anything by selling Cole Palmer. I really don't. I don't think we like what are we gonna lose? This is not me saying Cole Palmer's not a good player. So I don't want people to think when I'm saying all this that I'm saying it because I think Cole Palmer is not a good player. He's a brilliant player. He's got a high ceiling. Like we know this. This isn't me saying I want him to leave. But if he doesn't want to be at the club, which is could also be a thing, then I ask the question: do we lose a lot from it? What do we lose? Have we got cover? Yes. Esteval, Kenji Payers, Enzo can play in the 10. So it's not like it's not all doom and gloom. And I'll be honest, if we sell Cole Palmer, it's going to have to be for 150 million plus minimum. Yildiz, we'll just bring him in. So Daniel, you were saying you want to hear about transfers coming in. Maybe that's the way to get the books down, to get transfers in. Maybe we've got to sell Cole Palmer. If he doesn't want to be here and he's homesick and he wants to move back up north and go to a club in Manchester or surrounding areas, then so be it. So be it. So be it. Yeah, I agree with this. I agree with this 100%. Pranav is saying, considering we've been doing decent without him, I wouldn't say decent, but I know what you mean. We've not missed him to the greater points of like we really really need him. Like he's the reason we're not winning games or we've struggled to attack. He's not the reason. We've been playing okay without him. So I get what you mean. He's also that I think we can make up without him. I agree with that. I agree with that 100%. Um, we miss him for the big games though. Yeah, but give Esteval a run of games. Give Esteval the same amount of time and games that you're giving Cole Palmer. And I guarantee you, Esteval's going to show you exactly why he should be starting every single game, in my opinion. He does. But again, like there's other players. This is why we've got the squad that we've got. Because it shouldn't always just be down to Cole Palmer anyway to get you through those big moments, get you into those moments like in the Club World Cup final. It shouldn't just be down to Cole Palmer. Yes, you need players like that in the team, but I'm gonna die on this hill. I think Esteval is that player. I think he's just as good, if not better, than Cole Palmer. I'm gonna die in that hill. I'm gonna die in the hill. Let me know what you think in the chat about Cole Palmer. Are you happy if he does go? Should he stay? Who do we bring in? Because if we sell Cole Palmer, we're certainly going to spend some of that money that we get from him. If it's not Manchester United, it will be another club. There'll be other clubs swooping around. If these stories are true that he wants to get back up north or he's homesick, there's not many clubs that can come in from him, but bar Man City, who I don't think will come in for him. United, who potentially, if they can afford him, where is he going to get the game time? Like Mason Mount struggling to get game time there. So if he can't get game time ahead of Mason Mount and Bruno Fernandes, and don't forget, I think isn't Cunha playing there as well? Cunha can play in that role. So yeah, I don't see that. I don't see where he goes from here. For me, Cole Palmer, just get your head down. Just get your head down and play football. Stop all this noise, stop all this trademarking logo, like Beckham-esque brand stuff. Like, just get back to the basics of football. Enjoy the game. Stop all this nonsense. Stop all this stupid branding stuff and that, yeah, just do that in the summer when the season's done. We're trying to chase top four, Champions League, Napoli tomorrow. The timing of all this is nuts to me, but we'll see. We'll see. There has to be some truth to it for it to be coming out when the transfer window shuts on Monday and he was due to play against Crystal Palace, didn't play. He's training again today. We'll have to see. Liam Rosenior's got his press conference at 6:30, I think, tonight. We'll see. We'll see what comes of it. But Napoli are not doing well in the Champions League, and Kante will never do well in the Champions League. Yeah. Last famous words. We're gonna have the match preview out later on for the Napoli game. It'll be interesting what Liam Rosenior says as well, just in terms of who's available, who's not available, training wise, who can we rely on? Because this is a must win game tomorrow for us. We have to beat Napoli, and even that doesn't guarantee us the top eight that we want. Um, yeah, Fermin Lopez is our 10. It's a shout. It's a shout. It's a shout. I think, although I think I'm sure I read yesterday that he's in talks with extending his contract. But yeah, he's a shout. He's a good player. He's good for Barca. I like him. Is he a step up from Cole Palmer? I don't think he is, but I think he definitely. It's almost like for like what you're going to get from him. I think with Fermin Lopez, I think he's a good player, but yeah, ideal world this season, next season, I want to see Cole Palmer stay at Chelsea because, like I said, I'm not saying he's a bad player, but just focus on the football. All this noise around him and all that, it's making me a bit on edge, a bit uneasy when you're hearing talk about players wanting to leave and all that. There has to be truth to it. Liam Rosenior came out last week and said that he's happy. He spoke to him. He doesn't want to leave, and then we're hearing all these reports come out, whether they're true or not. But we'll have to see. We'll have to see. Let's move on. Let's move on because I want to talk about Raheem Sterling as well, who it's looking more and more likely. I think Raheem Sterling is going to get his move. I think Raheem Sterling gets his move um, before Monday. I think he's going to get a move. It doesn't look like Raheem Sterling has any future. I've been speaking about this for what 6, 7 months now. I don't think he's got any future at Chelsea. And it's saying here as part of the Athletic report that came out yesterday that Liam Rosenior revealed last week that talks have taken place with Raheem Sterling over finding a resolution for his situation. Despite Rosenior suggesting something might become clearer in the next few days, there has yet to be a major development. And Sterling, whose contract expires next year, so he's got another year, prefers a permanent departure rather than a loan. Now, the problem with this deal, I'm going to show you this as well. The problem with this deal is, and I'm not criticizing them for this at all. And this has come from Lloyd Canfield again, reporting on this as well. Is saying that he's keeping himself busy by he's obviously got RS7, the academy that he set up in London, and he wants to be close to that. No issues with that. No issues with that. Now you got to remember he had two botched robbery attempts on his house. I think they got into his house in one of those robbery attempts. So I get he doesn't want to leave his family, but mate, you're on £325,000 a week, and you're not playing football. And you're not playing football. It tells me that his mentality is here. He wants to just get his money, enjoy his little quiet life, go and train 2, 3 times a week. But surely, as a footballer, I said this a couple of months ago, surely as a footballer at any level, let's forget that you play for Chelsea and you're in the Premier League. Any level of football, you just want to kick footballs and play football and win games and help your team win trophies. I can't get into my head how any player at any level would not want to play football. How can you not want to play football? Like you're in a privileged position where thousands, if not millions, of kids and older men now, you're living out their dream. I can't fathom in my head how you've been on this contract for 3 years now. You must have enough money over your course of your career to take a pay cut and go to West Ham, take a pay cut and go to Fulham. Because both of those clubs were interested in Raheem Sterling. Both of those clubs wanted Raheem Sterling. And I can't understand for the life of me why. w- And look, I mean, the boat has sailed now. The plane has left. He can't get on that plane to the World Cup. But if he'd started the season well and fought for his place in our team, he might be in contention as one of those older. I was watching Monday Night Football last night with Carragher and Jimmy Floyd Hasselbank, and they were both saying about you need experience, you need the Harry Maguires, you need the Raheem Sterlings who've been there, done it for this younger generation of players coming through at the World Cup to just lead by example. He could have been one of those players, but instead he's turning up at Cobham 8 p.m. I think it's a shame how it's ended for him. I think it's a shame how it's ended for Raheem Sterling. But at the same time as well, you gotta help yourself, big man. You gotta be accountable for your own actions. And if he doesn't want to leave the club, because to me, Raheem Sterling, how old is he now? He's still got another 2, 3 years of him at the top level, even at the championship level. He could even drop down to the championship if he was serious about football. But money talks. When you're on £325,000 a week, and this is where I have to look at the owners, because the owners, this is definitely on the owners. The owners definitely messed up with this deal because you can't give someone like Raheem Sterling, who, and I always say this about Pep as well. Maybe the Cole Palmer one is the only deal that I can think of. Maybe Julian Alvarez and Cole Palmer spring out, but there's not many players that have left City because and Pep's made the mistake of letting them go. Cole Palmer, 100%. I think City should have kept him. And Julian Alvarez, I think they should have kept him. But apart from that, look at Jack Grealish. Look where his career's gone. John Stones is about to leave there this summer. He look what happened to his career. Where does he go from there? Man City don't just get rid of players that they still need in their team. And we should have realized from the jump when we signed Raheem Sterling on the money that we signed him on, and then the performances he was putting in, the alarm bell should have been ringing. Because the problem that we have now is we can't just get rid of Raheem Sterling like that. He hasn't been playing football regular. He hasn't been playing regular football for us. So how do you how do you get rid of a player that is probably not even in shape to start games in the next month or so? Who takes him? Who's going to take him on £325,000 a week? And he's still got a year left on his deal. So he holds all the cards. Every single card is in his favor. What worries me about this situation is it's coming at the detriment of us trying to sign players. Because, like someone said in the chat before, if we want to bring players in, you have to factor in things like wage bill that you've currently got. Now, if you're spending close to £1 million a month on one player and you're not getting anything back in return, then you have to question: do you just terminate the contract and pay him up? Now, I don't think that's even a situation we can explore because of FFP, because of how much we spent, the spreading out of contracts and the amortization of contracts and all the rest of it. I don't think we were in a position where we can just pay him up, Raheem Sterling, and let him go. I think we have to ride this one out and hope that we can come to look. Ideally, you would want either Fulham, West Ham. I'd even throw Brentford in there. I can't see it happening, but Brentford just come in, they pay 60, we pay 40, or we pay 60, they pay 40% of his wages this season. And then there's an option to buy at the end of it. I think that for me is the most logical explanation I can hopefully give for Raheem Sterling, because we have to get him off the books. He doesn't fit into the model. He doesn't fit into this young squad going forward. Liam Rosenior, clearly, he's not even training with the first team. So it's not like he's going to be coming back into the first team and all the rest of it. So we've got to get him off the books, man. Sterling has to go. If Sterling doesn't go, boy, I don't know. I don't know. What do you think in the chat? What should happen to Sterling? Where should where should he end up? Because the Saudi thing looks like it's done and buried. I don't think he goes to Saudi because he doesn't want to leave his family. He doesn't want to leave London. I can't see. I mean, West Ham, they're looking to try and get out of that sort of relegation scrap. Could he be one of those players? But then does he even start for West Ham this season now? My thing would be Fulham. I think if you can get him into the Fulham team, then I think you've got yourself a decent enough player um, to bolster that squad. Completely bolsters the squad for me. Let me know what you think in the chat. Where should he end up? That's what I want to know. Where should Raheem Sterling end up, and where does he need to go? Because we got to get him off the books 100%. All of this stuff here, I like it. It's all for the kids, grassroots, whatever. But another player very similar to Cole Palmer, bro. What are you doing? You should be playing football and focusing on the next game. 3 points, Napoli. 3 points, West Ham. Got Burnley coming up, Leeds, top 4. Seasoned player, Champions League experience, won the Premier League. £325,000 a week. I need you guys to let me know where does he end up? What does he need to do? How do we get him off the books? Because he can't be. We can't be doing this for another transfer window and seeing Raheem Sterling still at this club. It's mental. It's absolutely mental that we're even entertaining this nonsense at the club. We should not be doing it at all. It is mental. Absolutely criminal. Criminal. Let's move on. Let's move on. Because I'm hoping this is true. I'm hoping we can get this deal done. I'm hoping we can get this deal done. Axel Disasi, according to many reports, including the Chelsea Dodger as well, they posted this morning, that Axel Disasi is now in discussions with West Ham for a loan until the end of the season. A lot of clubs are after Disasi, and listen, I don't care which club it is, but somebody please take him. And if they're feeling lucky and generous, please take Benoit Badiashile with you as well. Please. I think this deal will accelerate over the next couple of days because we've brought back Aaron Anselmino, who I'm happy about. I'm happy that the club have seen a bit of common sense and they're looking to get rid of Axel Disasi. I think Benoit Badiashile will be at the door next as well. But Aaron Anselmino coming in is a big plus, a big bonus for us because we're still linked with Jeremy Jacquet. I think that deal will, for me personally, will not happen. I don't think the deal will happen. And I think the fact that we're still allowing Axel Disasi to go, for me personally, means that we will bring in another centre-back alongside Aaron Anselmino. I think, well, I don't know. I mean, what do you think in the chat? Is it a good move for Aaron Anselmino to come back to the club? Me personally, I think it is. But Jeremy Jacquet, I think this is a deal that I can't wrap my head around it. And I said yesterday in a separate video, we've got a 20-year-old already at Dortmund who's played, I think he played 10 games for Dortmund. I think he scored a goal against the Bayern Leverkusen. He's obviously had a couple of injuries while he's been in the Bundesliga. But with Aaron Anselmino, why would you go out to go and spend another 60 to 70 million on a player? And even this, like, I mean, what was shown here now, negotiations for 20-year-old centre-back Jeremy Jacquet continue, but Chelsea are now more geared towards getting a deal done in the view of him joining 26, 27. It just doesn't make any sense. It doesn't make any sense to me. It doesn't make any sense to me that we're trying to get a guy through the door that's 20 years old when we've already got Aaron Anselmino, we've got Levi Colwell, we've got Wesley Fofana. We've got Mamadou Sarr. Like there to me, and you've got Trevor Chalobah. So you've got 5 centre-backs already. Now, 2 of those need to go for me. Badiashile, Disasi. But I want to see Mamadou Sarr. I want to see Aaron Anselmino. We got Mike Penders coming back as well. So we've got a cool strength, defensive options there. You got Sanchez, you got Mike Penders in goal. You're gonna have Reece James, Josh Ashiempong. You're gonna draw Heto Cucurella on your left. You're gonna have Trevor Chalobah, Levi Colwell, Aaron Anselmino, Mamadou Sarr. Jeremy Jeke coming in. This feels like it's going to be one of those deals that we bring him in 26, 27, we loan him out somewhere, and we never see him again. And I just think for the price that we're paying, and I keep saying this on every single stream that I'm doing, go and get Antonio Rudiger. Just go and get Antonio Rudiger. Because you've got yourself the experienced centre back. Now, I'm not saying he's the needle mover. I'm not saying he's the one that you want to bring in and he's going to galvanize the defenders, but he's definitely going to bring you the experience. He understands what it means to be at Chelsea. He's won the Champions League with us. He's won the Club World Cup with us. He knows what it means. And the proper Club World Cup. He's won it all with us. So go and get yourself an Antonio Rudiger. Bring in Aaron Anselmino. Let Mamadou Sarr stay at Strasbourg for the rest of the season. Bring him back in the summer and save yourself 70 million. Is there anyone in the chat that thinks signing Jeremy Jacke is a good idea? Because to me, it doesn't make any sense. It doesn't make any sense why you would go out your way to go and sign another player almost at the same mold of Aaron Anselmino. It just doesn't make any sense. Now, I do want to see Aaron Anselmino. Obviously, he's come back. He's come back to Chelsea. It's been official. It's announced. I hope with this deal now, or the recalling of him, I'm hoping that we get to see him play for us. And this is not a deal that we end up just seeing him play 1 or 2 games and he doesn't really get the opportunity because he should. You know, Tosin. I forgot about Tosin. Tosin's there as well. So we've got more centre backs than we need, and we're bringing in another one in Jeremy Jacke. I don't think we need him. I don't think we need him. I don't think we need him at all. I think what we do need is a consistent back line. A consistent back line. That's what we need. We need a consistent back line, and it needs to be a solid back line as well. Not just because we've got 3 or 4 players that can play in that position, but they need to be players that can work well together, improve together, be solid at the back. This is where, to me, this is where Antonio Rudiger comes in. Because he shouldn't be playing every game anyway. He shouldn't be playing every single week in, week out. But he should be there to give these players the knowledge, the understanding, the belief, all of those things, alongside Levi Colwell when he's back from his injury as well. So, I don't know. It's interesting. It is interesting. It's interesting. I want to talk very quickly about this as well, because this could be a deal again that I'm not really concerned about. Not concerned about. Did any Chelsea fan, before we get into it, did any Chelsea fan actually want Douglas Luiz to join the club? I'm not annoyed at this at all. I'm not annoyed at this at all. I did not want him at the club. I didn't want him anywhere near the club. He's not. And look, let me show you this as well while we're here. This is why I didn't want him at the club. This is this morning. And we've got Andre Santos, Enzo Fernandez, Dario Asugo. So I worry about the ownership. Not the ownership, actually. I worry about them, but the sporting directors. It's the sporting directors for me. They always worry me because they keep going for these weird signings. Douglas Luiz. We've already got Lavia training again. Now, if we keep him fit, which is a big ask, I get it, and Dario Asugo fit, and you've got Andre Santos, and you're bringing in Douglas Luiz as well. Now, we know that obviously there's an injury to Asugo. I think he's going to be out for some time. But if Lavia's back and you've got Santos there, And you can put Reece James there as a very last resort backup option. Even Josh Ashiempong can play in that role if you really needed him to. I just don't see why we would be trying to bring in Douglas Luiz, who for me is not even the level that we need. It feels like a Dennis Zakaria move. It feels like one of those moves that he might play 2 games. He might play 2 games. He might get the cup games, but we don't need him. We don't need him. If Lavia can stay fit, I'm all for Lavia because we know what Lavia is about. Now, Lavia is a top player, but it looks like Douglas Luiz anyway has turned us down, which I'm happy about. I didn't want him at the club anyway. I think he's a bit of a. I think again the reason I think we wanted to sign him is because we know that he's worked under the Man City model in the past. He's worked with some of the sporting directors. So look, I mean, we're trying to sign Man City's rejects at this point, but it says here from Fabrizio, who again I don't really take these journalists anymore. They're not the top tiers that they used to be. But it's saying here anyway from this is from yesterday that Villa are back in active talks with Douglas Luiz after an initial approach revealed last week. And I think it goes on as well to say that basically he's gave the little. This was today, 3 hours ago. He's give the little emoji to say it's the one before the here we go. But it looks like Douglas Luiz is back at Villa. But I'm more concerned about this guy here. I'm more concerned about getting Lavia fit. Getting Lavia fit. The fact he's back in training is good. He's on the grass. He looks like he's ready to go. That's my concern. Let's not stop covering over the cracks with players that we know aren't good enough. That's what we keep doing. We keep bringing in players that just aren't good enough. And I'll even go back to maybe a Garnacho. Did we need him? I don't think we did. So I'm questioning these sporting directors. If we keep going for these Douglas Luizes, now there is a midfielder out there that I actually would want to go with. There is one. And if we were going to bring in a midfielder, it would have to be this one. And it's N'Golo Kante. He has to, if we're going to bring in a midfielder, then yeah, that for me is the one I want to go with. Yeah, not the need at the moment. I agree, 100%. I agree. Is that Alvarez? When you say Julian, is that Julian Alvarez? Or which who? Um, yeah, no, I think N'Golo Kante would be, and this will never happen. This I'm saying it because if the sporting directors and the owners had any ounce of, I don't know what the word is, common sense. Let's just label it what it is, common sense. If they had any common sense, this ownership, I'm telling you from now, this ownership would bring in N'Golo Kante for 6 months, well, 4 5 months. Just bring him in. Now he's a stopgap. He's a covering over the cracks that I would approve because he's not here for the long term. And N'Golo Kante in the Saudi Pro League is still doing a job. Now I know it's a Saudi Pro League, but again, I'm not expecting N'Golo Kante to be playing every single game for Chelsea if he was to come back on loan. And of course, there's a wage issue with him. He's on. I mean, let's find out what he's on. I reckon N'Golo Kante must be on. Let's find out. I reckon N'Golo Kante's got to be at least on 300, maybe more, 400 grand a week. Let's find out what he's on. But either way, my point is that there could be a deal. Yeah, it's mad. It's mad. It's crazy. He's on £403,000 a week, £21 million a year. Um, I mean, would you come back to Chelsea if you was? Yeah, I mean, even if we paid a proportion of that, I mean, if you're talking what 40%, 50% of it, yeah. I mean, I'm starting to think of it now. That would be to me that makes more sense than bringing in a Douglas Luiz. And if it's a loan, then it's a loan deal. We know what it means. But for me, Kante is one of those players that he's just effortless, and he can still run, and he can still do a job. in our midfield this season. I'd rather see that. Get Dario Sugo fit again. Get Lavia back up to the standard that we need him to be. You can swap and change Caicedo if he's suspended, which is more than likely, or he needs a rest. Enzo as well. You can rest both of them and bring in someone that you know is just going to be. Now, the only thing I will say about Kante is last season at Chelsea, I think he picked up one or two injuries and also didn't look mobile. Obviously, the pace of the Premier League is completely different to the Saudi Pro League, but yeah, I think for me, if the owners had any common sense, especially all the noise that's going on at the club with, us as Chelsea fans not being happy with the sporting directors, not being happy with the owners. And I'm not saying that they should do this just to kind of silence the noise, but definitely listen, because a lot of Chelsea fans, I'm sure, for me personally, would love to see N'Golo Kante back at Chelsea. To me, that makes amazing sense. Can you imagine Caicedo and N'Golo Kante as a two? Like, I don't. Can you imagine that for a whole season as well? I think that the conceding 15 goals a season could actually happen again with the right centre backs and the goalkeeper. But I think with me, Kante and Caicedo would be a dream of a midfield too, an absolute dream. Because if Caicedo done his job properly, Kante hasn't even got to do that much. To be fair, he's just got to mop up whatever might come through. That would be my dream. But I'm £403,000 a week, tax free. You got to question whether N'Golo Kante would want to do that. Me personally, I'd love to see him back. Pranav is saying yes, Alvarez, Julian Alvarez. I'd love to get him. I did a video on this last week. Alvarez would be. I'll tell you this. Yeah, Kante Caicedo would be a banger. I'll tell you this though as well. I think with Julian Alvarez, I watch him for Atletico. I watched him a lot for Man City as well. I think with him, I don't know if he would fit how we play. And I don't mean I'm thinking of like certain profile of players just don't fit a certain club. And I'll go back to someone like I think had we signed Fernando Torres, for instance, when we signed him, maybe we signed him 2 or 3 seasons before, I think we would have got more out of Torres. But he really struggled to understand the system that he needed to play in at the time. And he scored some amazing goals for us as well. But he struggled at the same time to fit and adapt. Shevchenko was another one. Um, yeah, just players that just didn't fit into the system. They didn't understand it. And I feel like with Alvarez, if he came to our club, I feel like he would struggle. But I'd love to see him. Now that I'd be behind 100%. Whether he struggles or not, I'd love to give him the opportunity to prove me wrong. I'm thinking of like Gyökeres at Arsenal now. Like he should be banging goals in, but just the way that Arsenal play, it doesn't suit his needs and how he wants to play football. I think the same would be for Alvarez for us. I really do, but I'll be behind it 100%, 110%. Um, yeah, I think so because I remember when I agree with this as well. Information supreme. I agree with this because when N'Golo Kante signed for the Saudi Pro League, he actually said it wasn't the money. He was, and look, I mean, Kante, we know Kante. Kante, when he was driving a Mini at Cobham, like this has been Kante's thing. He's not a flamboyant, 10 rollies on the wrist, or, he's never been extravagant at all. Do you know what I mean? He's always been quite a low key person. And I'm pretty sure when he signed, he said, this is now set up his family's generational wealth. I think he's invested in one of the clubs I think it might be in the French league somewhere. So I don't think with Kante, I don't think it is money. But of course, he was saying that when he first signed. He's now been over there, and again, culturally, it might make more sense for him to stay over there as well. You don't know, but for me, bring him back, even if it means we've got to pay 50% and we're paying him £200,000 a week. Um, yeah, yeah, bring him. I'm all with it. I'd have N'Golo Kante back in a heartbeat, especially over Douglas Luiz, because I think again, your regular two is going to be Caicedo, Enzo, Caicedo, Lavia. I thought Andre Santos against Crystal Palace looked the fit. He looked the fit. He looked exactly what we needed in that midfield. And I'll be honest, Liam Rosenior has obviously worked with Santos before, so he knows what he's all about. He knows what he's all about. He knows what he needs from him. But I do think with with our midfield, I think we've got a good core midfield. I don't think we need to do too much. We don't need to do too much. We don't need to make a big thing about it. We just need all we need to do is get the players back fit. That's it. Asugo getting fit. Yeah, we're getting confirmation now as well, which again I'm not bothered about. Really, honestly, it's the one thing that doesn't bother me this whole window. We get now getting confirmation from Ben Jacobs that Douglas Luiz has now agreed to join Aston Villa on loan. I'm happy with that. I'm absolutely happy about that. Now, this has also come up as well. Someone that we haven't spoken about for a while on here, and obviously we can't because we don't know what's going on with him. But Mikhailo Mudryk, What's everyone's thoughts about Mikhailo Mudryk? Because I think I think his days at Chelsea are done now. I don't think even if his ban was to be lifted tomorrow, I just think that the club. I think there's too many players ahead of him. There's way too many players ahead of him now, and I don't think he even gets a look in. I know there was talk about trying to get him a loan deal, um, but I can't see that happening. I can't even see that happening um, at all, at all. Be interesting. It will be interesting. I'm not disappointed by this deal at all. But Palmer, we need to see Palmer and Esteval against Naples tomorrow. We do. We're going to do a match preview about that later on this evening. So make sure you got your notifications on for that one. Um, before we wrap up as well, before we wrap up, because I was speaking to someone about this the other day, and I had to check. I had to check whether like what was going on with it. I was just thinking, this is interesting. Now, if you remember, Marc Cucurella was one of the first players that we signed. Reece James signed a new deal just after the new ownership came in, I think, or before. Was it before the new ownership? I can't remember. But either way, it says here that Reece James and Marc Cucurella have 18 months left on their deals. And honestly, if I am them, I'm thinking about leaving or showing me some intent and I resign. The board has shown zero ambition to win. The real question is whether Egbali will either match Reese's £250,000 a week or will he try and lowball the club captain? And with Marco Correa turning 28 in the summer, will they extend him or sell? These are legitimate questions for an untrustworthy board that views players based on resale value first approach. So I need to know what people think in the chat. What do people think? Because listen, there's protests now. I think there'll be riots if we let both of those leave. If we let both of them leave. Now, Reece James, captain, I think yeah, I said this last week or the week before. Sometimes you have to go beyond your wage structure to get the best players in your club. And I mean that by the players that we've got. Reece James cannot be one of these players that we allow to go to a rival for free or even for a fraction of the price that he's worth if he goes into that last 12 months of the deal. I'll be honest, I think Reece James is going to want a lot more than 250. I think Reece James is going to want a lot more than 250 a week to stay at Chelsea Football Club when he could probably go to the Saudi League. Real Madrid might come because Real Madrid, according to a lot of reports, they're done with Trent. Valverde still playing as a right back. So I think for me, we have to break that barrier for Reece James. We have to break the barrier. We can't afford Reece James to go anywhere. He should go from club captain, playing out all of his time at Chelsea, winning trophies in between that, and then going on to a coaching role if that's what he wants to do. But he should always be in and amongst Chelsea. In and amongst Chelsea. Same with John Terry. Same with John Terry. We can't afford to allow Reece James, the way that Reece James is now as well. I'm talking about Reece James that is playing week in, week out, resting in one game, playing two amazing games, connecting up the dots going forward. We have to keep him. I don't care what it costs, whether it's the 320. If you've got to terminate Sterling's contract, do it. Because we've got to keep the club captain at this club. If we was to get rid of him, do you know what message that would send to the club and the fans and the other players? And the reason I bring this up is because you look at all the other Cobham players that we've had at this football club, even Trevor Chalobah, who's still here, but you look at Conor Gallagher, Mason Mount. uh, I mean, bad example because he's always going to be a snake now. But you get what I'm saying. Ruben Loftus Cheek, Tamori, Tammy Abraham, Callum Hudson-Odoi, like all of these players that I'm not saying all of them with the level that we needed to play at Chelsea, but they definitely were used as leverage to bring in other players to a certain extent. Reece James is probably the biggest out of all of those Cobham graduates, all of them. He's probably the one that. And if you remember when Mason Mount left, it was if he put up a very cryptic but very telling post about Mason Mount leaving to go to Manchester United. I think I don't know if Reece James this will test his his loyalty to the club, in my opinion. This will test his loyalty to Chelsea because if he wants to if we don't win anything this season, which is very, 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 very likely, if we don't win anything this season, and then we go on to let him go, I wouldn't be surprised if he goes to Real Madrid or Barcelona or Atletico Madrid or I don't know, Inter Milan, somewhere where he's guaranteed to win stuff. Bayern Munich, he can go there and win trophies, go far into the Champions League, play another World Cup, play another Euros. If he stays at Chelsea, he's not guaranteed to win the Premier League. He's not guaranteed to win the Champions League, and no club is. But he's definitely got other options, I reckon, on the table. Probably now, like we don't want to be in a Trent or Virgil situation, Mohamed Salah situation, where you're getting to that 6 month period and you can start talking to clubs across Europe about signing a pre contract. And 18 months sounds like a long time, but it's actually not a long time. And the same for Cucurella. The same for Cucurella. Someone that has obviously grown into the team. Someone that has, didn't start off well his time at Chelsea, but when he's a player that I asked this at the very start when Cole Palmer's not playing, do we miss him? I'm going to be honest. If I ask you the same question about Cucurella, I'm hoping people in the chat are going to say yes because he is someone that we do miss. He's someone that we do miss. So we have to nail these two contracts should be nailed down in the summer before the World Cup. We should be looking to extend both of those. And I tell you something, if we don't sign both of them back onto long-term deals, name me a better right back. Name me a better left back out there right now. Name me two left backs two fullbacks in the Premier League or in across Europe that we could go out and just go and sign. There's no one better than Reece James right now. No one's better than Reece James as a right back right now. So what I'm saying, we need to sign both of those up to long-term contracts. And if we don't, we're gonna come to regret it 100%. 100%. Um, yeah, I agree. I was done with Mason as well. Mason Mount was always going to be one of those players though as well that he was always going to struggle at Manchester United. It was just I know he scored recently. I think it was offside goal, but he was always going to struggle because the expectations at Chelsea, you're always going to be sort of protected. We're always going to protect you because you're a Cobham graduate. When you go to Manchester United, oh, it's fair game. You come under every bit of scrutiny and criticism. So yeah, yeah. The less said about him, the better. But yeah, big up yourself, DJ Sav J CFC in the chat as well. Pick yourself up. Um, yeah, both players will leave our club. They're talking about Reece James and Marc Cucurella. At that point, I hope the fan base will finally accept that ownership need to go. They should be seeing it now. They should be seeing it now. I think the fact that we are where we are in terms of signings, in terms of the players. I did a video last week where I was showing the players that we could have had. I did a whole 11, and we could have had like a whole 11, included like Donnarumma or Mike Maignan, all these players, Xavi Simons, Elise, Rafinha, Osman. We could have had all these players. So the fans should be seeing that already. They should be seeing that this is not just a case of, two well-deserving players of new contracts being sort of moved on. And I generally think there's a bit of me thinks that one of those two players in terms of James and Cucurella will leave the club in the summer because Marc Cucurella, I think the last 2 summer windows has been linked with Real Madrid. And I just told you that Trent is out of favour at Real Madrid. So, and it's the World Cup. It's the worst thing as well. Um, our owners are our owners are a disgrace. They don't care for winning. It's all about qualifying for the Champions League, and they don't and not about trophies. I will not be surprised if Reece, Palmer, and Cucurella are sold. 100%. 100%. I agree with that. 100%. Yeah. Win, lose, or draw, BlueCo out. Yep. 1,000,000%. 1,000,000% on that one. Yeah. Yeah. And I agree with this as well. This is what but this goes back to my Sterling point as well. I think we're kind of having to balance the books because of Sterling, because we're still paying him. Now he could actually, if Sterling was, if Sterling was like, and I'm not saying he should do this. It's his money. He signed a contract. We gave it to him, whatever. But if he was like a decent human being, you would actually say, just give me 10 or give me 15 mil and I'll walk. Just give me 15 mil and I'll walk now. Pay me up a bit and I'll walk. But he's holding out. He doesn't want to leave. So we have to balance the books because we're paying Raheem Sterling £325,000 a week. I keep saying it on here. 325 grand a week is nuts. It's absolutely nuts that we're paying him all of that. But uh, yeah, all of our top players will ultimately leave. The club isn't ambitious. We don't pay competitive wages and we don't have a clear strategy. I agree 100%. And this is what I was saying last week. This is why we missed out. I mean, I don't know if I can pull it up, but if you go back to one of the other videos I did last week, literally, I showed the 11 players. It had players like Jules Koundé in there that I'm not a big fan of, but still, my point is we could have signed these players. We could have had arguably one of the better. We had Jude Bellingham in there, I think, as well in the midfield. So look, our strategy is scattergun approach. It changes from players that we need to bring in because we wanted to bring in, the top players for now. Then we went to this youth model. The youth model's not working. We're loaning out players left, right, center. The amount of players we brought in, I'm thinking back to like Pierre-Emerick Aubameyang, Koulibaly. Oh, just players, João Felix, like all these players that we brought in, and they're no longer at the club. Like we're just hemorrhaging money every single season. So the strategy is not clear at all, and it's a disgrace that we're at this point now, which is what 3 years in, four, if you want to say we're 3.5 years into this ownership, and all we've got to show for it is a Club World Cup and a Conference League. We haven't even challenged for the. It's not even like we're going toe to toe with City and Arsenal or Liverpool for the Premier League. We haven't even done that yet, and we're 3 years in. No front of shirt sponsor, no stadium details, nothing. Just literally, we're just here. We're just here. Yeah, but you know what? I agree. He rejected us, but I'm not. Again, I'm not against it either. Sometimes it's good that players reject you. Otherwise, you end up in a Raheem Sterling situation, and you're still paying them £325 a week. Yeah, yeah, I agree. I agree. We need both Raheem Sterling, Reece James, and Marc Cucurella to sign. We need them both to sign. I'm not against Josh Pong, but he's definitely not ready to sign up as a full-time right back at Chelsea. And I'll be honest, if anyone in the chat can name me a better right back right now or for the last 12 months than Reece James, I'll hear it. I'll hear why. But I can't think of another right back better than Reece James. And I might even say that for the left side. I don't think has there been a more consistent left back than Marc Cucurella in the last 12 months? It'll be interesting because if there's no sort of even talks with Egbali and sporting directors before the World Cup, especially for Reece James, he's the club captain. He's the club captain. Like it shouldn't even be getting to the point where you're getting down to that last 18 months. You get down to that last 12. So if you get down to that last 12, you go into that new season and Reece James still hasn't signed the deal, I think you need to start questioning what these owners are about. Because Reece James, your club captain, the kid that's been here since how long? 6 years old, 5 years old, whatever it is. And you're not even thinking, right, we got to secure that asset down. We got to secure that player down to a 4, 5, even a 6-year deal. If that's not happening and we're not even serious about signing Reece James to a long-term deal, we can, as a football club, we're embarrassing. We cannot be disappointed. The disappointment comes from the sporting directors. It has to come from the sporting director. If we don't sign him to a long-term deal before the season starts, I want to see riots. I want to see people a peaceful riot, but I want to see riots. I want to see riots because it's mental. Yeah, nah. No way, no way, no way, no way. I can't see it. I can't see it. I can't see it. If we win the Champions League, I'm going to say this now. If we win the Champions League final this season with Liam Rosenior and this squad, I will I will think of something mad to do a live stream. I'm going to think of the maddest live stream and I'm going to have to stick to it. Any suggestions in the chat? Let me know. But I'm there's no way we win the Champions League with this. The way that we're playing now, and we're in good form, but we haven't been. When I was watching the Crystal Palace game, I was thinking we haven't really been tested under Rosenior yet, have we? I think tomorrow is going to be a big test, and I know that Napoli aren't playing well in the Champions League and in Serie A. But I think tomorrow is a massive, massive test for Rosenior because it's all well and good you're playing Paphos at home, but going to Naples in Napoli and getting a win, knowing that you need that win and hoping that results go your way, then coming back and playing in the Premier League and then continuing in the League Cup as well. It's a massive, massive couple of weeks coming up for him, and I don't think he's really been tested. But bar that Arsenal game where I thought we played poor in the League Cup at Stamford Bridge, I don't think he's been given. He's been given the best run of fixtures. Charlton, good game. Paphos, good game. These are games where you kind of think, actually, yeah, you should be winning them. We should be beating them. We should be beating Palace in the form that they're in. But Napoli tomorrow is going to be a big one. It's going to be a big game for us tomorrow. We're going to do the preview for that later on. Yeah, we should be beating them. We should be beating all the teams we've played. But Napoli, nah. Don't forget, not long ago they won the title in Italy. So let's put some respect on them. Let's put some respect on Napoli. Yeah, because it's just nuts. It's just nuts. If we don't beat them, I can't have any faults if we don't beat them because I don't feel like we've gone into this game fully prepared with the squad that we want to take to that game. Unless Cole Palmer's fully fit as well. Esteval for me has to start. I feel that he won't start tomorrow. I think he'll be on the bench. Even off the back of the performance against Palace, I think Rosenior will rest him for the game, which I wouldn't be a fan of, but you never know. Yeah, I agree with this. In fact, I'd go 0.10 of a zero chance of us winning the Champions League. It's not going to happen. It won't happen. Okay, not to win. I think if we can get, it's difficult. I mean, when you get into the knockout stage of the Champions League, of course, it's anyone's. Anyone can win it. Anyone can win it. So I'm not saying that we can't. We should. It's a bit like the Club World Cup. Like no one had us to win that, but we went on to win it because we just found the right rhythm of game and we played well and we got through and we beat Benfica the way that we did off that mad game against them. And then PSG never turned up. So I'm not saying that we can't win it. I'm with that first comment, the 0.1% comment. I just can't see that happening. So not saying that we can't because we can. Anyone who's in that knockout stages can win it, but I would want us to go as far as possible. Like it's Chelsea. I'd want to get to the final. Of course you do. But do I see that happening? Not a chance. Not a chance. Not the way that the manager's setting this team up against like Crystal Palace and all of that stuff. Even Charlton, we didn't look that good, albeit with a mixture of a lineup. But yeah, I can't see it. But to answer your question, I want us to go as far as possible. Mm, yeah, according to a lot of reports, the Athletic are saying that we've got contingency plans for if Douglas Luiz doesn't sign for us, which is not. So we'll see what those contingencies are. That's what the Athletic have been reporting, that we've got other options, whether that's N'Golo Kante, whether that's other midfielders, I don't know, but we'll have to see. Yeah, definitely challenging. Any game, I mean, it's hostile. Italy is a hostile. Most grounds in Italy are hostile to go to. So it's going to be a massive challenge tomorrow. I'm looking forward to seeing what Rosenior says tonight, though, in the press conference. We have to see what he comes out with, and see what he, yeah, see what he does. Um, Yeah, he might not. I think the deal. I think the deal. I think that the thing to bring back Anselmino again. I get it because that covers the defensive area a little bit. But I will say that I still think if Dario Sugo is out for some time, and if we don't know to the extent, obviously Lavia's training again. But if we're talking about Lavia and he's not, no, he's not. He's 4, 5, 6 games away from being fit enough to start games. And yeah, we need to bring in a midfielder. We have to bring in a midfielder because Asugo is going to take time to come back. I'm not keen on Caicedo, Enzo, and Santos just being a free. I'm not keen on James playing in the midfield or Achiampong. So we need to bring in a midfielder. We have to bring in a midfielder. And hopefully we bring someone in this window. But you could be right. You could be right. You never know these owners, do you? The sporting directors, you just never know. We were never going to sign anyone in January. They told us this. So the fact that we're seeing links to Jacque and others was just lies. Yeah, it's true. It's true. Is it one of those things? Um, is it one of those things where they're just doing it to silence the noise? This is what I was saying about Kante. If they bring Kante back in for 6 months, is it just to silence the noise that the fans have been making? And is it just all these PR, the sort of the things coming out, the PR noise from the regular people, the Matt Laws, and all the rest of it? Big up yourself, Samuel, as well in the chat. Blue coat out of my club. Yeah, 100%. I think that's another thing we need to touch on in the next live stream because I did say I did say last week that if we're not gonna continue to protest, I think someone asked me on the live stream, the watch along that I did against can't remember what game it was, but they asked me anyway. Someone asked me about the protest, and I said what I said. If we're not gonna continue these protests and we're not gonna continue the noise, and I know we're doing it in the ground. I know we do it in the ground. I heard again against Palace at Selhurst, the noise from the fans at the but I'm talking about you're there, you're in the ground. So we need to come up with things if it's going to be a proper boycott, mass exodus of fans and all the rest of it, which a lot of fans think won't happen, but it can happen. But the protest, if we're serious about BlueCo out, then the longer that we're filling their pockets and lining their pockets, it's never going to happen. So we just have to be strategic about it and what signings do we actually need? Well, I personally think we need, like I said, I think we need another cover, another body in midfield. I still think even though we brought back Aaron Anselmino, I'd like to think that Axel Disasi would leave the club, albeit he's not been part of the men's team anyway, so it's not like we've been missing him. But I do think, and I keep saying this, and I've been saying it for about 2 years now, we need someone who has got the level and experience in our centre back partnership, in our defensive line, that has been there, done it. Not another 20-year-old kid, and I'm not talking about Anselmino or Jeremy Jacquet. I'm just talking about our back line. Our back line. Tosin is not good enough. He needs to go in the summer. Badia Shill's not good enough. He should be going now, but we're going to keep him. Dizazi's going to go. So there's three. Trevor Chalobah. I think if Trevor Chalobah has a good World Cup, I would not be surprised if his value shoots up and we try and sell him. So, and I think he will go to the World Cup. I think John Stones won't go. And Dan Burn will. Trevor Chalobah's been a good centre back, and he'll probably go. And Thomas Tuchel, so definitely gonna consider Trevor Chalobah. So I think we need to bring in, for me, this window. I would bring in Aaron Anselmino, which we've done. We've recalled them, but I would bring in Marcos Senesi, Antonio Rudiger, just someone. Not sign them on these 5-year deals either. Just give them a 2-year deal. Just give them a little 2-year deal, and then you bring in someone else in the summer. In fact, I don't think you even need to bring in another centre back because then you've got enough. You've got Levi Colwell coming back, Fofana, Aaron Anselmino. You'd think they're your first three. They're your first three choices of centre backs. Then you'd have an Antonio Rudiger for 2 years or so who can fill in, cover the gaps. And if worst case scenario, I don't know, the virus hits or whatever again, like it did a couple of days ago, Hato can play left centre back. Reece James can play there. Josh Achiampong can play there. And if we don't sell Trevor Chalobah, you've still got him there as well. So I just think with these deals, we've got to be strategic. They've got to make sense, be strategic with them, and not just bring in players that we just think we want to bring in, like a Douglas Luiz or someone like that. That just doesn't make any sense to me. Um, but I agree with that, Daniel. I agree. But again, let's make it the right deal. Let's not just sign players because we want new faces through the door. So I'm not against this club not signing anyone if the deal's not right. If the deal is there, like for me, again, bringing in someone which we've missed out on, we've missed out on players in the past, which we went on to do last week, then that's when I'm looking at them. But if we're just signing players because we want to sort of bring players through the door, then I'm not with that at all. I'm not with that. I want to bring in the right players, and it has to be the right players. Otherwise, it makes no sense. Um, yeah, I agree. I agree. Well, the thing with Rudiger, why I keep bringing his name up is because I think he wants out. He's out of favour at Real Madrid. I think he's still good enough to play a handful, 10 games a season, 15 games a season. I think he's good enough to do that. Cup games, the odd Champions League game. I think he can do that for us, and I think he's a good enough defender. Is it a future for us? No, not at all. But that's why I think you've got Anselmino and why you've got Levi Colwell, Wesley Fofana, because they are the future. Mamadou Sarr, I keep forgetting about him. So I think there are players. I don't think it's a wholesale changes. I'm keen to see if Mike Penders comes back as the goalkeeper. So we'll have to see. We'll have to see. For me personally, I don't. All I'm saying is I don't want to sign players just to sign players, because it's nice when you see other clubs doing it, or it's annoying when you see other clubs do it, and they're just signing loads of players, and you want your team to do exactly the same. But this is why we're in the situation that we're in. Why we've got Axel Disasi and Benoit Badiashile, and why we've got Raheem Sterling, because that's what we originally did when these owners came in. They just went and signed players just for the sake of it. Amari Hutchinson. What was the other guy's name? Amagu. Never played. I don't think he even kicked a ball for. I think he played one game. Like we signed all these players, and some of them are never here now. So they have to be the right sign. If we're bringing players in, first of all, it has to be something that Liam Rosenior is sanctioning or being a part of, because he's the one who's going to have to get the best out of that player. And if he can't do that, don't sign him, because he's just going to be loaned out. We'll never see him again. So yeah, it just doesn't make any sense to me at all. If we're signing, yeah, I said that Marcos Senesi. I said that. Yeah, Marcos Senesi for me. Look, he's another one, 29 years of age, got another 6 years on it, 6 months on his deal. I think he's already come out and said he doesn't want to renew his deal at Bournemouth as well. So we should be all over that. We should be all over that. Premier League experienced. We should be all over it. We should be all over it. But guys, we're gonna wrap up the stream there. We're gonna wrap up the stream. We're gonna have our match preview, Napoli, after the press conference tonight. So we'll be pulling that out. If it's not tonight, it'll be first thing in the morning, but I think it will be tonight. So make sure you tune in. Make sure you got your notifications for that. We're going to do predictions, team news, team lineups, all of that stuff. So make sure you hit your notifications bell. The big thing about this one is Cole Palmer. Make sure you've hit the poll as well in the chat. Should Cole Palmer be sold to Manchester United? Let me know what your thoughts are as well in the poll. Subscribe. Link is in the description as well. And we'll be back tomorrow with another live stream. So make sure you tune in for that one.